Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Adele Thayer and I'm the Acting Manager Governance and Legal at the City of Boroondara. I'd like to welcome you to this very special occasion. I acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung people as the traditional owners and original custodians of this land and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and the elders from other communities who may be here today. Before the ceremony officially commences, I wish to bring your attention to information to ensure today's ceremony runs smoothly. Firstly, in the unlikely event of an emergency arising within the building, can I ask everyone to please stay seated, remain calm, and follow the instructions of the event staff acting as your fire wardens. In the event that an evacuation is required, please follow the directions of event staff who will direct you via fire exits to our designated evacuation assembly areas. I would ask that everyone remain in the assembly areas until further directed by event staff. Secondly, in regards to the ceremony, any candidate that is seated but is not registered with staff in the foyer, can you please raise your hand now and an event staff member will come to you. As you are aware, the ceremony is being live streamed to the council website today, so all your family and friends can watch from the comfort of their homes. If you do not wish to be filmed, please raise your hand now and an event staff member will come to you. Thirdly, in order to comply with COVID-19 state government restrictions, I request you all to socially distance and keep 1.5 metres apart and your masks on at all times. Finally, if anyone has a mobile phone on, please turn it off now or put it on silent. If you have not already met with the AEC in the foyer, I encourage you all to see them at the conclusion of the ceremony. They have your electoral enrolment form. This form permits you, as Australian citizens, to vote at a future local, state and federal elections. The AEC staff will be available to assist you with filling out the form and witness your signature. As part of today's formalities, you will be asked to take your pledge to Australia. Those candidates taking the oath, those with a blue dot on their name badge, will stand first and recite the pledge that is on the card you have been given. Following this, the candidates taking the affirmation, those candidates who have red dots on their name badge, will be requested to stand and recite their pledge as directed. Once you have taken your pledge, you will be an Australian citizen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would like to welcome the following special guests to today's proceedings. The Mayor, Councillor Jane Addis. Councillor Felicity Sinfield. Councillor Wes Galt. Councillor Di Gillies. Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth. Councillor Cynthia Watson. The Honourable Josh Frydenberg, MP, Federal Member for Kooyong and Treasurer of Australia. Senator Raf Ciccone, Federal Senator of Victoria. The Honourable David Davis, MLC, Member for Southern Metropolitan Region. And Mr John Kennedy, MP, Member for Hawthorn. Already seated, I would like to welcome and acknowledge Mrs Jan Dimmick, President of the Boroondara Australia Day Committee and fellow members, Anne Frew, President of Rotary Club of Borwin, George D'Souza, President of Rotary Club of Camberwell, and our soon-to-be-announced Citizen and Young Citizen of the Year. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to entertain us for a short time, please welcome the Hawthorn City Pipe Band. Thank you, gentlemen. Please join. Thank you again to the Hawthorn City Pipe Band for opening our ceremony this morning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome and be upstanding for the Mayor of the City of Boroondara, Councillor Jane Addis.
Thank you, and please be seated. It's a hard act to follow the Hawthorn Pipe Band, so thank you to them. Fellow councillors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the City of Boroondara's Australia Day Citizenship Ceremony. Today marks a very special occasion, and it's wonderful to see so many of you here today. And I'd like to extend you all a very warm welcome, and also a warm welcome to those who are watching online. I acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung people as the traditional owners and original custodians of this land, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and the elders from other communities who may be here today. I'd also like to acknowledge the strength and resilience of our traditional owners, and also acknowledge the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, and the distinct communities, cultures, histories and experiences present within Boroondara. Australia Day is an opportunity to reflect on what it means to be Australian, to acknowledge our history, to provide an opportunity to promote understanding and reconciliation, and to celebrate how we have come together as a nation. I ask that we take a moment to recognise that some Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people consider January 26th to have a different and sombre meaning, with the date representing British colonisation of country and marking when the traditional cultural life of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people would change forever. Our journey towards a brighter future for all Australians is to encourage awareness of and take steps towards reconciliation. As Australians, this is one of the responsibilities that we all share. In 1837, Robert Hoddle surveyed this area in preparation for settlement and declared it the parish of Boroondara. The word Boroondara was derived from the language of the Kulin nation, which means where the ground is thickly shaded, to describe the leafy wooded area. It's an apt description that still applies today. Boroondara is a place of great diversity, with a quarter of all residents born overseas. It is our differences that increase the rich culture and civic life among our 183,000 residents. We celebrate the wealth of cultural heritage brought by all those who choose to live here. Boroondara has many active community groups, and the Boroondara Australia Day is one of many local special interest groups that help bring people together. The Boroondara Australia Day Association was formed over 50 years ago to ensure Australia Day is celebrated throughout our city. I'd now like to invite the President of the Boroondara Australia Day Association, Mrs. Jan Dimmick, to say a few words. Thank you, Jan.
the Mayor, Mrs. Jane Addis, VIPs, politicians, councillors, new citizens, boys and girls. I don't know if there's any boys and girls here today. Good morning and congratulations. Today is Australia Day, and when you woke up this morning, you knew that it was in a few hours you would be an Australian citizen. Of course, we have had the virus here, the same as the rest of the world, but we have had to follow the guidelines like everybody else. Many of these functions have had to be postponed, but we are back at last, and we hope it will keep on improving all the time. You choose to come to a wonderful country, one many others before you have done so also, and join the citizens who were lucky enough to be born here. Many years ago, pioneers came to Australia, an unknown country, but a wonderful country. Back then, it had a hard life. They had no electricity. Oil lamps and candles were used. Water carriers from the well or river to their homes. Transport was a horse-drawn carriage. No telephones, no postage, and they were a long way from their neighbours. Life was very difficult, but the pioneers worked very hard and left a wonderful foundation for us to follow and create this modern Australia we live today. We give all our people the opportunity of working together in harmony, sharing the good things in life and enjoying being an Australian. We must live according to the laws of the land, and we must respect the laws. Freedom of speech and freedom of choice are two very important aspects of the country. Oh, sorry. I can't. Sorry. Many of you have brought your families to this country, and many have come and will marry and have families here. You have also chosen Boroondara, a lovely leafy area. I have lived in Boroondara all my life, so I think you have chosen a very good place. The Australia Day Committee of Boroondara and myself welcome you and hope you will find happiness, good health and life in the best country in the world. All best wishes to you who have been coming as new citizens, and hope you will join us to keep Australia the very best country. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, and thank you to the Boroondara Australia Day Committee, who assist us each year to ensure becoming a citizen in Boroondara is a great celebration. The City of Boroondara is most fortunate to have in our community many passionate and hardworking citizens who are dedicated to assisting others and making a positive difference in our local and broader communities. We're proud to acknowledge these outstanding individuals as role models for the community. We received many outstanding nominations for Citizen of the Year and Young Citizen of the Year, and our winners have already expressed gratitude to me for the recognition. Because the calibre of nominations was so high this year, we're also recognising one individual with a special Commendation Award. This year, our Boroondara Commendation Award 2022 goes to Amanda Donohoe for her contribution to the wider community through her outstanding work and support to vulnerable residents of Boroondara. Amanda has dedicated her time to providing housing to those in need. Not only has she provided housing to vulnerable Boroondara residents, she has She has created an inclusive, loving and safe environment for them which offers social support services. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Amanda for her outstanding contribution to the community. And if you could come forward to accept your award, Amanda. Thank you. This year, we're pleased to recognise 2 exceptional young Boroondara residents as our Young Citizen of the Year. It's now my privilege to announce our joint winners of the Boroondara Young Citizen of the Year 2022 award, and they are Belinda Batty and Ria Werner. Belinda spends her time volunteering at the Servants Community Housing as a live-in house manager, supporting women experiencing mental health distress and who are survivors of domestic violence, as well as children with disabilities. Belinda has been living on site alongside these women through the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in constantly working to support them without any relief. As well as this, Belinda has volunteered on youth camps throughout the school holiday period with CYC Ministries, supporting young people who have experienced trauma, loss or are disadvantaged. She has contributed to the Camberwell High School music program by assisting the teaching of musical instruments to students. Congratulations and well done, Belinda, and if you'd like to please come forward to accept your award.
Thank you. Thank you to the Mayor and to Boroondara Council for this recognition and opportunity. I feel honoured to be standing here today. Thank you also to Jayden for nominating me. Thank you to Amanda Donohoe and Servants Community Housing. As someone so young, I'm grateful you've given me the opportunity to live in our community, to learn and grow, and to be challenged. For the past 12 months, I've had the privilege of living as an on-site volunteer house manager with Servants. The house I manage supports a number of women from different backgrounds, including acute mental illness and domestic violence. By living with people with such different experiences, I have been face to face with the fact that every individual is going through different challenges in life. It goes back to the old saying of don't judge a book by its cover. Every person has their own experiences, and every person is going through something. Having the opportunity to live and be alongside people while they face significant challenges has been a privilege, to support those people and be a positive, stable, encouraging presence in their lives, especially during a time where everyone's lives are that bit more complicated as we make our way through these COVID times. As an occupational therapy student who wishes to work amongst people, supporting them in their daily lives, volunteering at Servants has given me prime opportunity for exposure to the world around me and experience that I could not gain through my studies alone. My encouragement to myself and to everyone in this room is to strive to continually be the person who doesn't judge, who stops, listens, and genuinely cares for the people around them. One moment that will always stay with me is when a new resident moved in. On the day they moved in, they told me in their previous residence they would stack furniture against the door at night to make sure no one could get in. But here, they felt safe. They had a lock on their door they knew they could use, but she didn't feel the need to, because now she had somewhere safe to live and somewhere that felt like home. And this is the work that Servants does for so many people. My standing up here today shows that the work Servants is doing in our community is valued and important. To me, it's not just me standing here, but this recognises the work of all the staff and volunteers at Servants Community Housing, and it is a privilege for us to have this recognition. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now our other Young Citizen of the Year, Ria Werner. Ria has a strong passion for nutrition, specifically eating disorder conditions. In 2021, Ria was invited to join Harvard's Striped, a public health initiative led by professors and clinical practitioners from Harvard University and the Boston Royal Children's Hospital in the US. Her participation led her to being a critical figure in the adoption of the Senate of Bills H2331 and S1523, which focused on restricting adolescents' access to muscle-building supplements and diet pills. Due to her involvement and contribution to Harvard's Striped, Ria was asked to be the founding member and co-chair of the Body Confident Collective, a national non-profit for eating disorders, led by researchers from Melbourne and Monash University. Ria is a member of Boroondara Youth Council and is the lead of a legislative event at Victorian Youth Week. Congratulations and well done, Ria. Please come forward to collect your award.
Since joining the Boroondara Youth Voice Committee last year, I've been incredibly fortunate to work with so many amazing youth and peers in order to create tangible change for young people, which is why I'm so fortunate to be receiving this award today. Last year, whilst we were all behind screens, virtually isolated from each other, we saw our friends and communities suffer, and the most affected by an issue which in our society remains a severely stigmatised and taboo topic is youth and eating disorders. In Australia, a country lauded for its education standards and sporting culture, still over 30% of youth are diagnosed with an eating disorder. I want you to imagine how many children you know, your friends' friends, or even a family member that have been diagnosed with an eating disorder in this pandemic. Looking in our community, the current scope of eating disorders is that treatment takes priority over prevention. We, as youth, saw that there were no resources targeting the prevention of eating disorders, leaving young people alone in a silent fight. Without being able to do merely more than try and support my friends, I began to try and mobilise change, starting with the legislative work I helped spearhead at the Harvard Striped Initiative, which is an international organisation based at the Harvard University T.H. Chan School of Public Health, aimed at the mitigation of eating disorders in youth. However, without the utmost support of the Boroondara Council, I would have never been able to translate this into tangible change here, in our home, Australia. Since then, I've worked on leading the first National Australian Eating Disorder Profit, led by youth in partnerships with researchers from Melbourne, Monash and Victoria University, working on bridging the divide between youth and prevention mechanisms for eating disorders, working to support youth rather than to treat them. In 2022, I'm so excited to continue working on supporting young people through hosting an education reform-based event for the Victorian Youth Week in collaboration with the Boroondara Youth Committee, as well as establishing an eating disorder resource hub, the first of its kind in the world. This being said, I would just like to thank everyone involved for this process, my mentors and my parents for supporting this initiative and always having my back, the Boroondara Council for truly supporting young people to create and mobilise change. Without the Council's help, none of this could have been possible. And finally, to all young people, remember, you are never in this fight alone. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations again. It's now my pleasure to announce Boroondara's Citizen of the Year is Greg Buchanan. Greg has been a very active community member within Boroondara for many years. He played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Surrey Hills Progress Association, and through his involvement, the committee has worked within the City of Boroondara to achieve protection of built heritage through implementation of heritage overlays and framing of the activity centre strategy. Greg has also played an important role in establishing the Anzac Day Dawn Service in Surrey Gardens. Since April 2019, Greg has served as President of the Surrey Hills Progress Association, while also being a part of the Level Crossing Removal Project Community Reference Group, which work closely with Boroondara and Whitehorse councils. Congratulations, Greg, and please come forward to collect your award.
Thank you to the Mayor, Councillor Addis, and to the Boroondara councillors. I feel deeply honoured to receive this award today, which I see reflecting so well on the Surrey Hills Progress Association. I see this award as Council appreciating the value of community groups, including planning and activist type groups like ours. I believe it is really important for such groups to act constructively and show respect while advocating strongly for what the group believes in and cares about. I pay special tribute to our group members for their spirit and character, and especially to Sue Barnett and Belle Chandler for their influence for me and their long-standing contribution to the Surrey Hills community. To my family, Gail, Fiona and Claire, I thank you so much. Without your support, I would not be in a position to play such an active role. And finally, I'd like to share one anecdote from when I was a young boy. My late mother, Billy, delivered on Meals on Wheels out of the Canterbury Elderly Citizens Centre for many years. During school holidays, it was our duty to accompany her, carrying large pots of soup into the homes of local residents. During the week, Mum and her friend Else also helped in the op shop that was then around the corner in Canterbury Road. On the meal rounds, I well remember visiting Mrs. Bull at Medlow on Warrigal Road, Surrey Hills. I recall being led down a dark hallway to the room that she was normally in by day and feeling quite enchanted by the grandeur of her mansion home. And another woman in Allenbury Road, Canterbury, who had numerous cats living in her house while she appeared content to sleep in her car that sat in the driveway. There were many other elderly residents living such simple lives, often their meals placed down on sheets of newspaper that covered the table. I saw what they really wanted was to chat to someone, the meal almost secondary. I'm very proud, Councillor Addis and the Council, to accept this award, but more than that, I admire the work of this Council and this community in the care they give to all people of all circumstances. And I dedicate this award to my mother, whose compassion and commitment to others has always been an inspiration to me. Thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just honoured 4 of Boroondara's and indeed Australia's exceptional community-minded citizens, and I think you would all agree they deserve recognition and thanks for their work. I'd now like to speak on the rights and responsibilities that becoming an Australian citizen places upon all of us. In welcoming you as citizens, Australia makes a commitment to you and grants you the right to be protected against injustice, to live in a free and democratic society, enjoy freedom of speech and religion, to be given equality of opportunity, and to have an important say in the future of Australia by exercising your right to vote at an election. Citizenship also brings responsibility. It places upon you the obligation to exercise your vote, to obey the law, to contribute to the economic welfare of society, to follow your religion peacefully, and to speak out responsibly. We all seek the same thing, to lead the good life and enjoy peace and prosperity. And being a citizen of Australia offers you the rights and responsibilities that come with that good life. I'd like to thank you for not only choosing to become a fellow citizen, but also for choosing to live in Boroondara. We're a proud community which celebrates our rich cultural heritage, endeavours to live sustainably, pursue healthy lifestyles, appreciate the arts and many other activities which form the substance of a vibrant civic life. And I encourage you to enjoy Boroondara, to bring your unique gifts and talents and become an active member of the community. It's now my pleasure to conduct a ceremony that will naturalise 95 new Australians, citizens from 22 different countries. You will have received a lapel pin of our national floral album and the Australian flag in your show bag upon arrival. As an Australian citizen, from this day forward, this flag becomes your flag. This flag represents all Australian citizens equally. It's a reminder of the contribution of past generations, an ensign for the current generation, and an inheritance to pass on to future generations. Australia is a country with a diverse society that benefits greatly from the richness of many cultures. We stand in the shade of the many people who have contributed to making Australia a great country of tolerance and understanding. and the wonderful place we choose to live. Australia needs your contribution as citizens to maintain and promote those high levels of tolerance and understanding which we enjoy in this community. I'll now read the preamble to the citizenship ceremony. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia, and Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and obligations, uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake to accept these obligations by pledging loyalty to Australia and its people, by sharing their democratic beliefs, by respecting their rights and liberties, and by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. This citizenship ceremony is conducted under the authority of the federal government and is prescribed in the Australian Citizenship Act. I'd now like to invite Boroondara City Councillor and Deputy Mayor Wes Galt to the stage to deliver a message from our Minister for Immigration, Citizenship, Migrant Services and Multicultural Affairs, Honourable Alex Hawke, MP. Please join me in welcoming Councillor Galt to the stage.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mayor Addis has just said, I'll be delivering this message on behalf of Alex Hawke, Minister for Immigration, Citizenship, Migrant Services and Multicultural Affairs. Today, you become an Australian citizen. We are immensely proud of what we have achieved as a nation, and we welcome you in joining us. Our history and culture has been forged over thousands of years, first through Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and more recently with people from all corners of the earth. Australia has succeeded as a nation by embracing and defending our national values. We believe in freedom and the dignity of each individual, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of association. We value the rule of law, democracy, and equality of opportunity for all people. We stand with other democracies in helping to defend and protect these hard-fought freedoms. We are a resilient nation. Drought, bushfires, floods, and now a global pandemic have challenged our normal way of life. Our social cohesion, a key strength of Australia, has never been more important. Upon taking the pledge of commitment today, I call on you to embrace these values and the rights and responsibilities of Australian citizenship and play an active part in your local community to build an even stronger nation. On behalf of the Australian Government, I congratulate you on reaching this very special day. Alex Hawke.
Thank you, Councillor Galt. I'd now like to ask all those candidates taking the oath, that is those with a blue dot on their name badges, to please stand. If you have a holy book, hold it in your right hand. And if you could please repeat after me. From this time forward under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. And if you could please remain standing. For those candidates taking an affirmation, that is those with a red dot on their name badges, if you could please stand. And if you could repeat after me. From this time forward, I affirm my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. And congratulations to you all. You're now Australian citizens. And if you could please be seated. I'd now like to invite the Honourable Josh Frydenberg MP, Federal Minister for Kooyong, the Treasurer of Australia, to say a few words. And if you could please join me in welcoming the Honourable Member to the stage.
Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and paying my respects to their elders past and present, and obviously congratulating the newest citizens of Australia. Wonderful to be here. Can I also acknowledge the Mayor, Councillor Jane Addis, Councillor Di Gillies, Lisa Hollingsworth, Cynthia Watson, Gary Thompson and Wes Galt. Can I acknowledge my parliamentary colleagues who are here, Senator Raf Ciccone, as well as David Davis and John Kennedy. Jan Dimmick, wonderful to see you so well, and thank you for all that you're doing, and other members of the committee who are here. To the President of the Rotary Club of Balwyn, Anne Frewer, and George D'Souza, the Rotary Club of Camberwell, and of course, our Citizens of the Year, Greg Buchanan, Rhea Werner, Belinda Battery and Amanda Donoghue, people who I've known through the work that they have done in the community to obviously promote good public health we heard about, also to promote the cultural heritage of our community and our country's history and legacies, and also the work to provide safe community housing for those people in need. Thank you so much. A very deserving set of nominees and recipients today. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a cause for celebration. You are among the lucky ones. For Australia, our country is a leading light to the world. Among nations, we may only have the 55th largest population, but we are the 13th largest economy, the 6th largest landmass, and 2 of our capital cities are in the top 10 most livable cities in the world. Australian scientists and writers have been recognised with Nobel Prizes. Our actors, like Kate Blanchett and Hugh Jackman, are revered amongst the red carpets of the world. And Australian athletes, with over 560 Olympic medals to their name, rank in the top 10 nations of the world for their medal tally. And they are respected as much for their good sportsmanship as they are for their courage and sporting talents. But our greatest strength, which you can find across the country in every community, big and small, is a richness, a diversity among our people that makes us great. And today, we become much stronger because you and more than 10,000 like you in different parts of the nation have made a free choice to become a citizen of Australia. As citizens of Australia, you are now fully fledged members of the Australian story. A story that stretches back from our Aboriginal people, the first inhabitants of the land, to our founding fathers, who brought together our separate states to create a federation, to today's newest migrants from more than 100 diverse nations spanning the continents of Africa, Asia, the Americas, and Europe. It will be the energy and the skills of our newest Australians that will hold the key to our nation's future as a vibrant, as a proud, as a prosperous society. To fully understand the secret of Australia's century of success, you need to comprehend the scope and the scale of the history of immigration to our country. Consider this. Between 1901 and the start of the Second World War, around 700,000 people arrived in Australia, helping to take our population to approximately 7 million. But since 1949, when Australian citizenship was first introduced, more than 5 million people have become citizens, which has helped grow our population to around 26 million today. More than 10 million Australians have at least one parent born overseas, and more than 7 million Australians have both parents born overseas. More than 20% of Australians speak a language other than English at home, with Mandarin and Cantonese among the most common, followed by Arabic and Vietnamese. This wonderful migrant story infuses every aspect of Australian life, from politics to sport and everything in between. Our former Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, was born in Wales before migrating with her family to Adelaide in the 1960s. Australia's greatest general and citizen soldier, Sir John Monash, was the product of Prussian parents. Australia's pioneering heart surgeon, Victor Chang, was an immigrant from China. Frank Lowy, a captain of industry, was born in Czechoslovakia. Cricketer Usman Khawaja was born in Pakistan, and Australian tennis star Daria Gavrilova is originally from Russia. On a personal note, my own mother was born in Hungary, and my father's parents came from Poland. For them, Australia was the embodiment of freedom and opportunity at a time when Europe was ravaged by war. They never, ever forgot how lucky they were to live in this country. For every new citizen in our great land, Australia offers not just a new home, but a better home. A place to live where there is freedom and fairness, equality of opportunity, and importantly, an appreciation of difference. But Australia's good fortune can never be taken for granted. This is the lesson of both the past and the present. One only has to turn on our television sets to see the troubles in the Middle East, the tensions in Europe, or the tragedies in Africa. For many here today, these are not just pictures from a foreign land, but part of your own journey to where you are today. As citizens of Australia, you will be afforded new rights, as well as assuming new responsibilities. Some rights, like the freedom to vote, are the envy of others around the world. Some responsibilities, like upholding the rule of law, are fundamental to our pluralistic and open and successful democracy. I know that you will warmly embrace the Australian way of life, but never forget where you came from. Your culture and your language is your heritage and a source of strength in modern Australia. Be proud of it, because it now forms part of that rich tapestry that makes up our great country. Thank you for becoming Australia's newest citizens. It's a big decision, and 26 million other people are now with you. I wish you and your families only the very best of luck for the journey ahead. It has been a couple of difficult years, but you can be optimistic and confident about the future. Your future is now Australia's future, and it's a bright one that awaits. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. I'd now like to invite everyone to participate in an Australian citizenship affirmation ceremony. If you'd like to take part, if you could please stand and repeat after me. I affirm my loyalty to Australia and its people. Whose democratic beliefs I share. Whose rights and liberties I respect. And whose laws I uphold and obey. Thank you, and if you could please remain standing, because we're now going to all stand together to sing our national anthem. This is a special and proud moment, and for many of you, this will be the very first time you will sing the national anthem as an Australian citizen. So sing loudly and enjoy it.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this Commonwealth of ours renowned.
Please be seated. That brings us to the end of formalities. You've gone through a very simple but meaningful ceremony today, one that makes you part of this great country. On behalf of the City of Boroondara, I congratulate you all and best wishes to you for a happy and successful future as citizens of Australia. Thank you.